The COVID pandemic changed a lot of our priorities in a lot of ways. One thing is many people have been reevaluating college, that maybe a 4-year bachelor's isn't worth the cost and possibly the debt. Community colleges that have trade school programs have seen a 20% jump in enrollment. One of them, in Essex County, is building a whole new campus to keep up with demand. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And the Devlin Inn and Suites, Lake Placid, welcoming families, athletes, and groups to the Olympic Village, offering Adirondack mountain views and dog-friendly accommodations. TheDevlinNY.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, May 13th. First up, a state judge says the Republican candidate for governor can access public matching funds for his campaign. Bruce Blakeman is running against Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul in this November's election. The New York Public News Network's Jimmy Vielkind has more.
A judge in Albany says that Democrats on the state Public Campaign Finance Board acted improperly when they barred Blakeman from getting matching funds. Board officials said Blakeman made a paperwork error. But Justice Denise Hartman ruled that the board should have given him a chance to correct his mistake. She gave him a week to do so. Republican State Committee Chairman Ed Cox praised Hartman's decision. He says it will give Blakeman a boost.
This makes it possible for him to, as the campaign finance laws were designed, so that he can have a full campaign.
Hochul isn't seeking public matching funds and already has more than $20 million on hand. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
It was a record-setting year for Olympic venues in the Adirondacks and Catskills. Ski centers, including Whiteface and Gore Mountain, saw about 10% more visitors from the year before. Tate Wardlaw heads up marketing for the Olympic Regional Development Authority, also known as ORDA, which manages the venues. He says visitation across all of them has been steadily increasing since 2021.
There are several reasons for that growth. ORDA, over the last 7 years, has significantly improved its guest experience across all of its venues. It also reflects a better operational execution, and Mother Nature helps us out with a great year of snow.
This comes as ORDA is spending a few $1 million to develop a plan to maintain those venues long term. Pat Bradley reports for the New York Public News Network.
The increase in visits have a spin-off effect on local communities. Town of Minerva Supervisor Stephen McNally also chairs the Essex County Board of Supervisors.
Essex County receives most of our revenue through sales tax from tourism, and the governor has done a wonderful job building the infrastructure with ORDA to support tourism. And the more people that come and use the facilities, the better it is for the entire economy.
Lake Placid Mayor Art Devlin explains any sales tax revenue generated by visitors goes to the county.
The only thing that really brings us income in is property tax, and we cannot raise it more than 2% a year. So that really doesn't help the village, at least from our administrative side, but it helps the village in general. You know, when businesses do well, they upgrade their facilities and it attracts people and you don't have empty stores. Not just the village, but the town and Wilmington and the people around here. It's really great for us.
The numbers issued by the governor's office indicate that most visits occurred in the winter. McNally notes the number of tourists coming to the region varies widely depending on the weather.
This year we had record snowfalls. We had a wonderful ski season, so that helps us. You know, the small town I live in, if we get snow, the traffic on the road doubles heading to Gore Mountain. A lot of it's weather dependent, but infrastructure is the key, and ORDA's leading the way with that. And, you know, hopefully the towns are doing a little better, the county's doing a little better, making our venues more receptive to the tourist dollar.
The ORDA board in December authorized hiring a consultant to review current and future maintenance needs and whether the authority has enough staff to run the venues. At the time, ORDA President and CEO Ashley Walden explained the report will include a full assessment.
It's a huge amount of infrastructure that we have of varying vintages. This strategic plan includes a full conditions assessment. There's also a workforce component. They will help us to put together a routine maintenance plan that helps us to build the workforce to support that.
Wardlaw says by hiring the consultant, the board is framing long-term strategic fiscal and infrastructure goals and objectives.
We are fairly comfortable with where we are positioned today to be able to service 250,000 skiers at Whiteface, for example. But we also need to ask ourselves, are we positioned well for growth across the Olympic Authority, both in terms of HR and in terms of facilities infrastructure?
Devlin says if there are staffing or maintenance issues, it's not obvious to the user.
I've skied quite a bit this year. I've been to events at the Bob Run. They've had back-to-back world-class events, and maybe they're having problems, but I don't see any of it. Everything looks really, really good.
There are more than 1,500 full-time employees working at ORDA's 6 venues. The study will take a year to 18 months to complete. In Plattsburgh, I'm Pat Bradley for the New York Public News Network.
There's growing demand for schools that teach vocational skills like welding, nursing, culinary arts. An education center in the Champlain Valley wants to expand its campus to meet that demand. Emily Russell has details.
Over the last few years, the mindset around higher education has changed. A costly degree from a 4-year college is increasingly out of reach for a lot of people. And for some, it's not an investment that pays off. The pandemic was a turning point. It shifted even more focus away from those degrees towards trade schools. Since then, there's been a 20% increase in enrollment at community colleges nationwide that focus on vocational training.
The mindset around these jobs and these roles has completely changed, which is refreshing.
That's Eric Bell. He's the Deputy Superintendent of Champlain Valley Educational Services, which is a BOCES chapter with campuses in Plattsburgh and Mineville. Bell says a year into the pandemic, they realized they needed to expand the Mineville campus to keep up with demand.
So our first step was to investigate in 2021 in addition to the building. At which time we did an estimate, cost estimate, and financially it was something we could not pursue.
The Mineville campus was built in 1969. Bell says adding onto it and making upgrades would cost about 3 times as much as building a brand new, much bigger campus that could meet rising demands. So that's the plan. Build a 106,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility. It'll have 5 more educational spaces for the trade school and 5 more for special education classrooms. They're still in the design phase, but Bell says the estimated $50 million construction cost will pay dividends back into the Champlain Valley.
The investment in education and opportunities for our kids in this area, families want to move here. And I see that happening in Essex County as well, right? Which is, as a family, you're looking at what opportunities will my children have as they grow in this area.
Mineville is a hamlet within the town of Moriah, where a state prison closed a few years ago. But there have been other investments there, from a local canoe company to a whiskey distillery. The proposed new BOCES campus in Mineville is currently under review by the Adirondack Park Agency. The APA is accepting public comment on the project until May 21st. Bell says they hope to break ground later this year and open the new campus in 2028. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by I Am Snow Angel of Lake Placid and Michael Hart and Ramon Vasquez of Malone. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.